Yes, he's just doing a couple of things and be right here. I started recording, so you can go.
John, we're going to start now, okay? Let's tell him to hurry up.
It's running.
It's running good, thank you. Okay,
So calling to order at 4:05?
4:05, yeah. Call the meeting to order. Public comment? No? Okay.
That's your chance.
There's a chance to go left, right, or up and down. Approval of the minutes of last month. Have you all read them? If so, do you agree with it? You stand?
Yeah, you want to make the motion then? I'll second it, as long as you've read it.
Oh, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the regular meeting of November 9th.
Thank you, I'll second.
Second. All in favor, yes. Motion is approved. Financial managers report, Patty Markel is not available, so we'll do it amongst us. Do we need to read it? Does somebody have to read it for you guys, or what?
You interested in the financial report for the last month?
Well, the recording
By
might
the
be.
recording, I think we should read it.
Oh, I can read that.
Okay, go ahead.
December warrants total $37,061.83. The total for payroll is $17,522.50, including Chief Carlton's salary of $4,212.50 and Assistant Chief Shields' pay $2,750. There are two events for the commissioners and the secretary. The total payout for volunteers is $12,394. Your November financial statements are in your meeting books. We need a motion to approve the warrants and the payroll for December as presented.
Okay, thank you. Anybody care to make two motions?
Yeah, my job. I make a motion, two motions. First, to approve the warrants, total of $37,061.83. And a second motion to approve the payroll for $17,522.50. Two motions, looking for 2 seconds.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion's approved. Thanks a lot, guys. That was houses, payroll. Budget update, you can look below there, in the blue and the red. We have about 18.5% left of the budget, which I think is pretty good.
At the end of November, right? Yeah.
Yep. Do you have any questions?
No.
No? How about you?
No questions.
Good. Thank you. And we have two resolutions that we need to look at and hopefully approve. One is the surplus equipment. We made a motion to surplus the equipment, but we'd like to follow it up with a resolution, like we usually do. Simple resolution, nothing has changed. We can argue that we do it after the fact, but big deal.
Do we need to read them or just?
We're referring to resolution number 2016, number 6. This is the resolution to approve the surplus equipment release of the station. And that would include 4 refrigerators, 1 stove, and 1 microwave oven. Can I have a motion to approve that resolution?
I want to change it to, your resolution should be 2016-05 for surplus equipment.
Oh, that's right, I'm reading the next one.
Right, and
Quite correct.
make a motion for approval of that.
Second.
Okay,
Aye.
motion is approved, all in favor. I'll go on to the next resolution, which pertains to the per diem, which is a slightly increase in the per diem that in Washington State approves for official travel and meals. So this pertains to mileage and meals. And this is what I call a generic resolution. We from now on will follow the state of Washington's guidelines. So we don't have to make a new resolution or a new motion. And we
motion to approve resolution 2016-06 per diem
And mileage.
mileage.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Motion is approved. Thanks, guys. That was that. Audit discussion, Chief, just in time. Go ahead and give us your,
Apologize for being minutes late. The state auditor, I talked to Sean Fitzgerald, who's handling our account today. December 5th, you have to sign a document today opening up the audit, agreeing to the audit, and that just needs to be signed. So it's late, and we have had a meeting prior to that, so that'll be signed, scanned back to Sean. I believe that the audit is coming to a close. He thought it might be done by today, but we've been going back and forth with some information that he's needed. And so as far as today, I've satisfied all of that request. He may have a few other questions in the coming days. So I'm hoping the audit will be completed by next week. And I will update the commissioners independently on the status of that audit in regards to where it's at, or if it's being completed. And then when the exit interview would be, whoever is going to go down to that. I understand we've only had one person go down to the exit interview before from this commissioner panel. So find out a date that works for whoever that individual may be. And then I'll be participating in that as well, along with our secretary, Patty Whatcom. So there most likely will be at least 3 people there.
okay, thank you.
Financial manager.
Yes. Yeah, sorry, financial
And
manager.
what is that interview called?
It's an exit interview.
Exit.
Exit,
And that's 1 week from today.
No, the audit may be complete, and then they'll set an exit interview at that point, but it depends when they consider the audit to be completed. We'll get notification of that, and then the exit interview will be scheduled after that.
Yes, okay, well, that's very nice. Thank you, Chief. We may as well continue with correspondence.
No correspondence to mention for the last month. I did get a correspondence. We ran a medical call the other day to residents here, and the following day, one of the parents of the patient actually came here with a thank you card, and I'll bring that up next meeting.
Oh, thank you.
But brought a thank you card, and it's one of the best cakes I've ever had in my short time here, because it was, I think it was from Seattle, the cake was, or it was just,
Did you say a cake?
yeah,
Where's the
Yeah,
cake?
we ate it. We made sure it was all eaten before this meeting. Yeah.
Actually, that's how you normally operate?
Yeah.
So no share program?
If it would have been brought in prior to this meeting, I'd be sharing it, but
But when did it come in?
it came in 2 days ago.
2 days ago, it would still be good now.
2 days ago. I will make sure.
Was it a big cake? What kind of a cake was it?
It was almost like a pound cake with this amazing frosting on it with chocolate mixed in.
It's always the same with them, you just eat sit and...
What I can do is go upstairs and see if there's a piece left and eat that before you have an opportunity to go upstairs.
Would you have done this the first week after we hired you?
No. I can't say that I would. Just for the record purposes.
Again, for the record, this panel is very disappointed. You are too, or did you?
You have to be.
Oh,
No, it came in on Monday and he was working.
Well, it came in, she brought it in, and
I know, I wouldn't
it was
know.
later in the afternoon.
I wouldn't know that either.
I had 2 pieces in my office because I
Nice.
took it, and then I think maybe the gals that covered that night might have finished it off.
Didn't have the courtesy to call us.
But there may be some left, we can go upstairs.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Steve. It's nice working with you.
well, I have a question about correspondence, because you got something from Pat Grubb at the All Point Bulletin that you sent on to us about our newsletter. He sent an email.
Yeah, that was forwarded to you.
Yeah, well, I still think that's correspondence, right? Because I would like to discuss it. John, is that on the computer? Can you bring that up, please?
Yeah, correspondence for me as fire chief.
Got it.
I bring here.
Okay, correspondence for the commissioners then.
Okay, let's see it.
Let's see it.
Have you seen it?
No?
You got it as an email.
No, I did not. I went through my email yesterday.
That's fruitful.
Your wife steals your email.
On November 17th. Well, you'll see it here.
Yeah, well, it's better than a pound cake.
Sure, but that would fit right in right now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you could have a cup of coffee and watch the video.
So in my absence, do you have
Okay.
any questions about the financial report?
No, we took.
That's good right there. We only get the first
Everything's
page.
been approved. We just started the meeting, we figured.
I understand. I've been behind this afternoon with phone calls.
So in November, I wrote the newsletter as we've agreed in the past. Chief double checked it and sent it off to all point interface for us. And at the beginning, what happened is Mr. Grubb of the All Point Bulletin took exception to what I wrote. And what I wrote was, I talked about the upcoming events and then taxes, accuracy, and accountability. The All Point Bulletin recently ran an article about the fire district titled, "Commissioners Looking to Max Out on Taxes." Unfortunately, important information was left out of the article, so we want to clear up loose ends. So Mr. Grubb wrote this and states here, as the commissioner's word choice implies that the APB article was incomplete and inaccurate, I would like the opportunity to respond to their communication. So I want to respond to that communication. So he sent this response out, and the second page of this explains a little bit more. He sent this response out responding to our November newsletter on November 16. On Point Interface. 2 days later, he sent out the December edition of the All Point Bulletin. So he states that our word choice has concerned him, but he not only has the paper in which he's free to write whatever he wants, but he's amassed a large email address database where he sends out weekly updates, but he had to respond on Point Interface because now I think that not having every means of communication, he's got to take over the last one. But he didn't ever really respond to what I wrote in the newsletter, which was a fairly thorough explanation of what had been missed based on our budget meetings. The newsletter, so what he really did was he editorialized. And in my mind, that's something that's typically done in an editorial in a paper and not in a public thing like this, because he's just talking about his personal beliefs. Our newsletter clearly stated important information was left out of that article and that we wanted to make sure that everything that we talked about at the meetings was captured. The heading he's responding to, taxes, accuracy, and accountability, I wrote that to show that we commissioners hold ourselves to those standards. That we, 3 commissioners, have a responsibility and obligation to be accurate, and that we 3 commissioners are accountable to the public. That what we do is objective and fact-based. The remainder of the newsletter was dedicated to us being accurate and accountable to the public so that there could be no misunderstanding. Even so, Pat Grubb of the All Point Bulletin clearly did misunderstand. It appears he assumed that the title, Taxes, Accuracy, and Accountability, applied to the All Point Bulletin when that was not the case whatsoever. That shows to me that he either feels very defensive or that he has a guilty conscience about something. But you can see his letter does not respond to my newsletter that everybody has read, and I wanted to point that out because there's no other forum for us to do that kind of thing here in the fire department.
Thank you, Shannon. Does that conclude the
same. I'd like to start talking to homeowners about home addressing. I'm also looking into a program that we might be able to get some funding for to put the house numbers out towards the road or make them more visible for us. We do have good map books that will have to be updated in the next year or two to add in the additions that have been built here on Point Roberts. But otherwise, we're doing okay right now. It's just that some addresses are hard to find at night, especially when they don't have their front porch lights on or anything like that, once they call 911. Again, the haunted house was a success. That was our last event with that. And the AFG grant cycle, all grants were submitted, and I'll be waiting to hear. I'll be calling Washington, D.C. at the beginning of the year to see if our grants are making it to the different levels of the process or if they've been rejected. Engine 58, Engine 58 too, I'd just like to bring back those, the cost of servicing those. We're allowed by the auditor to utilize capital funds in order to, not in normal maintenance, but when we have something that comes up that's a large cost and it can extend the lifespan of our units, then we can use capital reserves to do that. So the cost of Engine 58 did end up being $5,000, and I think we put that in our capital, but it's near $3,000 to repair the foam tank and the primer switch on that. Engine 5802 will be going in the first of the year. That's the big expense. We're looking at probably $25,000 to replace the tank on that apparatus. And we'll let you know more once we get into that. I'm sure they could find other things once they let that tank out. There may be other things that we have to repair in order for that tank to be at its maximum usage. Nothing else to report. We still have 47 members. Nothing's changed from last month. Volunteer hours were 2510 for the month of November. Volunteer payroll 1330.85. Combined chief hours worked 156. Chief Shields worked 144, and 300 hours total. Incidents, we had 18 calls, 70 EMS calls. We transported 4 patients to St. Joseph's, 1 Airlift Northwest, and we had 2 no transports, public service, which were wrong address dispatch. Fire classifications, we had 10, 1 permitted burn, 2 illegal burns. We had 6 false alarms, which included 1 carbon monoxide detector and a power lines down incident. And that concludes my chief's report for November 2016.
Thank you. Unfinished business. Anyone?
Yep. So last month I gave a quick but sweet presentation on the Oakland Bulletin, number of articles and such. And I had a brilliant idea to make it even simpler. That one. So I gave each of you a copy of this. And what I did is I added them up rather than having you to go through all 6 pages of the articles. So I just wanted to point out that between January and December of 2009, we're using that as a pre-Christopher Carlton time frame. And then it shows the Water District had 8 articles, Hospital District 5, Parks, not including County, 5, Fire District 11. And then I went back, my first goal in doing this detailed thing about the All Point Bulletin was to show the period of November 15 to October 16. And so you can see that in that period, the Water District had 4 articles, the Hospital District 1, and the Parks 15, Fire District 19. And I thought that was an anomaly originally, so that's why I did 14 to 15. And you can see, again, basically the Fire District gets quite a bit more articles, except for this year. The Parks District kind of went up, and that's probably because of the library. But if you see overall the trend in those years, 49 articles, letters that are important, or photo arrays or whatever, good, bad, ugly, whatever. The Fire District has 49 of that, the Parks 29, Hospital District 7 overall, and the Water District, which is not a taxi district, had 20. So you can imagine we are providing them. ample opportunity to write and fill their paper. So if they don't, if they don't write about the fire department, then the paper probably would be a lot smaller. And I, again, added the Friends of the Library just to show the preferential treatment. And it's his newspaper, he can do whatever he wants. So I've included that as the cover sheet, and then the detail that I presented last month is on the other subsequent pages. And what I'd like to do from now on is I'm going to keep a running tally of this and just see what the how the trends continue. So if you read the article in the December paper about the fire district, that was accurate and thorough and complete, and that talked about the taxes and everything like that, and that was much better than the article from the previous month. So that's that. And you all have a copy?
Yes, thank you.
Shannon, anybody else, I want to thank you for your excellent job you do writing the article for the interface.
Oh, the newsletter?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And whoever else is involved, like Chief, you too, I want to thank you for giving it a quick look over. And Linda doing the minutes so fast. That was good. It really is going to help us from now on. Maybe, hopefully, set the record straight with the information that the public really, really deserves on the point.
It's just about being accurate, objective, and fact-based, and not adding personal editorials.
Exactly.
And not adding things that detract from being accurate.
Exactly, and this is very overdue as far as I'm concerned. I mean, we've been beaten up so often and so long by the Old Bulletin and the employees thereof.
It's not so much this, I can almost put up with the snipes and things like that in his articles. It's what he doesn't report.
That's actually true.
If you would report the whole issue,
Yeah.
rather than just saying,
Yeah, but he can't, you see, because that tells the truth, the whole issue.
and that's an old attorney's trick.
Yeah, he pulls
It's
it
used
apart.
constantly.
Yeah, they do, and they focus on why.
Focus on a part of it, and if you're going to get into it, you're going to have to give the whole thing or summarize the whole thing.
That's right.
And,
Well, that would be what most people would do, but if
And
you
it's-
have an agenda, then...
and
you
certainly
don't
his
do that.
newspaper, he's a frustrated person. If he had his own editorial page, I think the problem would be,
Well, he has the whole newspaper.
yeah, he does. He takes the whole newspaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that people don't understand that he's editorializing.
Anyhow, it's a slow
Anyway,
process,
so-
it's doing well, and I want to thank you for that.
And, we can hope that it'll improve. Maybe he'll see our point of view.
Well, I think that if we keep doing this and showing the inequality, and I don't really care what people do, I mean, it's just, can we just have equality and treat everybody the same? I don't understand how Meg doesn't go to the hospital district meetings, that's clear, because she doesn't. There's been, the one article from 1415 was actually written by Elaine, the superintendent, and she was responding to a complaint that one of the citizens in the public here in Point Roberts had. Pat wrote the other article in 1516. The water district, Meg didn't want to go through my presentation last month because she had to get to the water district, but as I point out here, she says she went every month. But she didn't write one article about the water district between May and November of 2016. Not one. And yet, they keep coming for us. And I don't understand why that's so, when the water district's budget, which is not a tax-based budget, but is paid by all of us through our fees, they've got, what, $1.5 million? So that's what? 3 times bigger than we are?
Yeah.
But that's treated as if every rate hike is necessary and required to provide services, but they're not replacing water mains. the water mains continue to break randomly, and then thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons of water are lost and damage to homes and property. And yet, 49 articles for the fire district, 19 just this past year, and 4 for the water district, but that kind of makes sense because now Arthur Reber is part of the water district, and he's a friend of Judy's, and Judy's a friend of Meg's, and I don't know if Arthur and Meg are friends or not. But again, that gets back into, you know, I don't think people understand how all of these people are connected, and they come out and act like they're random things happening, and they're not. And it just needs to be clear that what's going on, and I think that it's important to keep this going and to make sure that as many people in the community who want to know or care do know. So.
Well, first, you're glad that you volunteered for this. And, again, thank you. That concludes the end of that. Fine.
So unfinished business. I want to mention the administrative captain's position again. And we are formulating through our district council, making sure that we're covering all the areas needed, the I's, the T's within a contract like this. We may run into an FLSA overtime issue due to the amount of the contract being under the, I think it's 24,000 and change right now to not make them eligible for overtime issues. So we may structure it a little bit different. I just wanted to let the commissioners know that, and I'll keep you updated as time comes on, and hopefully we'll have the administrative captain's position in some format online in the first quarter of next year.
Okay, thanks, Chief. Oh, by the way, that 25% salary cap, is that based on a senior firefighter?
Yeah, it's a 20%. It's a 20%.
20%?
It's a 20% top paid firefighter position. So.
But since you're making it a captain's position, are you referring to general captains?
It's still a volunteer's position. So it doesn't matter what rank they hold, as far as I understand, it's still a volunteer position, regardless of rank. I will double check that with Brian. He's the expert obviously on this. And I think it's just a blanket volunteers who make 20% of that a professional top paid firefighter, or the top set firefighter would make. That, and I'll do another salary look this year in Whatcom County to see January 1st what people will be starting at and what their salaries will be in 2017. Because it changes every year, because everybody usually just raises, so it goes up. Right now, I'm comfortable where we currently have them to be under that cap and not put us over that. So.
Beautiful, thanks. New business. You?
I have no new business.
I don't either.
I would like to introduce, he probably introduce himself, maybe. But this is PJ. And PJ, you're Minter, right?
Yeah.
PJ Minter. He came in my office, was interested in becoming a volunteer firefighter. And hopefully he will become one, in the future years. But he has his own web-based company. And he's going to assist me in developing some Excel spreadsheets for the tracking purposes we need within the organization. So I'm glad to see you here, PJ. Good to see you again. So next year, my goal is to track everything that, all the training and everything on one sheet that I can go to, or that Assistant Chief Shields can go to, or that any of the captains can go to, and get a snapshot of who has what, who's completed what, and the captains will also have permission to go in and update that spreadsheet when they complete trainings. So we don't have to wait and duplicate that. They can do it at the time that they complete things. So it'll be a real-time type of spreadsheet for us. And that's something we haven't had in the past, and it's definitely something that's needed. So.
Great, thanks. PJ, where do you live? You live on the point here?
I live under the Remax office on Tiger, across from the grocery store.
Oh,
In a basement apartment.
That's newly renovated, right?
Yep, so it's one person who's lived there since it's been renovated.
Nice.
I bought a lot over on the ground, so hopefully I'll start building my house next year.
Really?
Good.
How old are you?
Welcome.
40.
You are not.
I know, it's crazy. Nobody believes me in the street. You should see me when I'm not shooting.
Jesus, like babies.
How old are you?
40.
Get out of here.
I just said that.
Okay?
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Are you thinking he's older?
He looks like he's
than what he is?
20.
You're like 25.
How old do you,
Tops 25.
how old do you think I am?
Oh, John.
73. No, 72.
Well, you're welcome.
Welcome and thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, yeah. Thank you.
And then, okay, folks, that was it. Can I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, get on. Thank you. That was a quick one.